I can really give a shit. I'm going out in style. Anyway, hey, that's my theme song. Dropkick Murphys going out in style, man. How the heck are you? I am Tom the Beer and Whisper as we do this video here. So I poured it. Well, I drank about half of it, and I did a video for the founder CBS. 11.3% Imperial Stout, brewed with coffee and chocolate, and aged in maple bourbon barrels. Maple bourbon. Anyway, say that 10 times fast. But I decided I'd pair it with the last half. I did, half of the bottle by itself for the video. Decided I'd pair the last half with some of my Thomastown Distilling double oaked bourbon. This is really an outstanding young bourbon. I really like it. And because of the flavors and the notes of this whiskey, I thought it would pair well with this particular bourbon. And I will tell you, when I first poured this beer, I admittedly had it way too cold. I let it sit out for a few minutes, but not long enough. And now that it's been out about 30 minutes, I mean, that nose is just gorgeous. One thing I do like about it, that didn't work for me with past incarnations, and I've had some in the past where I thought the maple was just too strong. This one seems to be balanced about right, because the nose, although I do feel some maple, it's not covering up the coffee and chocolate, and more importantly for me anyway, it's not hiding those beautiful bourbon barrel notes. That nice toasted oak, that little bit of spice you get from a bourbon barrel. The copious amounts of vanilla. It all works together here. And the flavors are much the same. I get a lot of that sweetness, so those imperial stout notes. A little bit of coffee, but a lot of chocolate and a lot of maple early on. In the middle, I really feel some toffee and a lot of vanilla. And then at the end is where that coffee kind of reappears in a big way. And then you also get some toasted oak and some maple and everything else that a bourbon barrel will provide. The one thing that does impress me probably the most, and I've been really paying attention to this lately, is the texture, the mouthfeel. How does it feel? And this one is just about perfect. I'm going to set that down. I could have put this in a nice Glencairn or even just a neat glass, but instead I just used my Thomastown shot glass and old schooler here. I'm not going to shoot it. No, we're gonna drink it easy, but so I leave it in this nice jigger glass here. What I mentioned about the beer is true with the whiskey. Is the texture, the mouthfeel of this whiskey is just impeccable. But the double oak, they use a combination of French oak staves and American white oak staves. What that will typically do is French oak will typically impart more vanilla than white oak, although you're going to get plenty of vanilla from American white oak. But French vanilla really gives you deeper, richer vanilla. Whereas American white oak, especially Missouri white oak, to really break it down a little more specifically, will give you a lot of spice, a lot of cinnamon. You may even feel other spices come through. And because of that, because of the initial sweetness of the whiskey, you get a lot of toffee and a lot of vanilla early on. And in the end is where you really feel that beautiful oak, a lot of vanilla and a lot of spice really finish it up for you. It just pairs beautifully with this particular beer. They work in conjunction with each other. Anyway, I digress, man. Oh, mercy. Yes, like I said, I drank a half the beer and do the video. I thought, well, got half a beer. So I'd pour the second half and just pair it with I've got it. This holds 1.5 ounces. So I pair it with 1.5 ounces of this whiskey. It's become one of my favorites. This is near the end of the second bottle. I bought 2 when I was up in Kansas City a few months ago. And there is one store in town that I can pick it up, so I may have to pick it up again because I really enjoy this particular whiskey. I I was gonna say something. I stopped myself for a second, but I love bourbon barrel aged beers. I do. It just seems like these days everything has to have something in it. Although this isn't a new beer by any stretch. Adding the coffee, the maple, it's certainly not brand new. But yeah, I do kind of miss when you saw more just imperial stout barrel aged beers. It seems like everything has to be flavored in something these days. I'm seeing a lot of coconut and who knows what else. But yeah, it is good. I got to tell you though, I'm kind of a purist. I love what a bourbon barrel does, just to a impeccably done, a beautifully done imperial stout. There is a lot of flavors here. In the past incarnations, I wasn't thrilled because I thought it was too much, too sweet. The last time I had it, I felt it was too cloyingly sweet for my particular taste buds. This one works. There is an appropriate amount of sweetness. Let's say it is very sweet. Don't get me wrong, but I mean you've got a great big imperial stout, which is going to be sweet anyway, and then you're adding coffee and chocolate. And then you're aging it in maple bourbon barrels. I would probably never order this combination out if it were available because it would be very, very expensive. You probably get a glass about this size for about $12. And a shot like that's probably going to cost you 6 or 7. But at home, hey man, well I paid 20 for the 4 pack. It was 19.98. It was the cheapest that I'd seen it out here. I debated on boycotting the product, and ultimately I decided not to. But I did come to the end. I passed it up multiple times, and almost everybody sold out of it now. And places were wanting more than I wanted to pay for it, in all honesty. And I happened to see it at one store this past weekend for 19.98. So I thought, oh hell, I'm just gonna bite the bullet and pick it up. But I did have some reservations. One about the price, but also probably more importantly about the controversy surrounding Founders. They did address the situation. I don't know if they did it 100% right, but I mean I guess that's that's subjective, I suppose. I'm not sure that they handled it appropriately, but because I'm not sure that they actually took full responsibility, and I think that's the thing for me. I'm not sure that they really just stepped up and took responsibility. I mean, there was sort of an apology in there, but it didn't feel like to me their heart was in it. I think they did what they had to do just because, and that's an issue for me. However, having looked at both sides, I mean, both sides I think have valid arguments, and my end ended up somewhere in the middle. Is I no, I'm not going to outright boycott the products, but I'm not going to purchase them with the frequency that I had in the past until I know they got their shit together. I will say though that this beer is done well. It is probably, I mean, I quit buying this years ago because the last one I had I just didn't like, and oh, I dribbled there. And with the amount of beer that's available, man, it's important to get it right. You got to get it right about every time because there's always another option available. And for me, I think like most craft beer drinkers, not all, but most, I think we like to exhaust our local options first, right? I mean, Mother's does there used to be MILF, now it's called Mater Familias. Barrel aged, a multi-barrel aged imperial stout that they brew with raisins and cocoa nibs. So that's always a must to get for me every year. But I mean, and then they do, single barrel. They put out single barrel versions throughout the year of it. But yeah, I like to exhaust local options, and then I will, look at what's in the supermarket, and of course you look for classics like KBS and CBS that you've seen every year, and of course there's that other one that I'm not going to name at this particular moment that creates a lot of hype on every Black Friday. A beer that gets by more on hype than quality these days, but I suppose I have to say that's my opinion, but. I don't think that it really is my opinion that the beer isn't what it used to be. That seems to be the general consensus. Unless folks are just kissing AB InBev's behind, everybody I've talked to will admit that the beer isn't what it once was before the buyout, before the AB buyout. But there are folks that have their backsides, square up AB InBev's keister because they keep asking for free beer year after year. So they're going to tell you it's wonderful because they're getting it for free. My integrity ain't for sale, though. That is just a beautifully done whiskey. It's 90 proof, and I mean, as you can see, there's no face. It's just an easily drinkable whiskey. I love the amount of, I love the balance, right? There's a lot of sweetness initially, a lot of vanilla, a lot of toffee. You might find some fruit notes in there as well. And then the finish, you get that beautiful toasted oak. You really feel that the vanilla from the French oak, and then you feel that the massive spice end from the American white oak. I personally get a lot of cinnamon. I also feel like I'm pulling out some nutmeg and some allspice. Beautiful. Anyway, I am Tom the Beer Whisperer. That's where I was going. One more time. Cut and action. My mind was going. I'm Tom. Let's start this way. Since I finished this up, I'm Tom the Whiskey Whisperer, Whiskey Evangelist, Prolific Whiskey Drinker, Pervert Wisdom, and I'm also Tom the Beer Whisperer, Beer Evangelist, Prolific Beer Drinker, Pervert Wisdom, and cheese biscuits. That's good. All right, good guy. Cheers, y'all.